What's up, everyone? Welcome to NFL Showdown Pre-Lock Show. My name is Zwarych. We got an exciting game ahead of us. We got the Lions facing off against the Cowboys. Two high-powered offenses in what should be a very, very fun game. Looking forward to diving into this one. Joining me today is Bobby Gomes. How you doing, Bobby?
Doing well. Trying to figure out this ARSB news, pretty much like everyone else. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about ARSB. I'm getting with the FUD. I think I'm probably not going to have much, but we'll see. Still trying to finish some stuff here. What are you up to?
I've had a crazy day. Parents got in a little car accident today. They're okay. They're fine. Just some bumps and some bruises, but had to deal with that, make sure everything is all good there. And so was busy getting things going, keeping things sorted, but ready to looking forward to just relaxing and watching a football game tonight, because I kind of feel like I've been running around bouncing back and forth, and then the last couple hours just have been grinding DFS for NBA, for NHL, for NFL. And so looking forward to just being able to close all the things, not worry about late swapping anything, and just lay down, relax, and watch some football tonight. But I got my lineups built already, so it's a little bit more stress-free for me, because you're going through a loop now that Amon-Ra St. Brown is active.
Yeah, a little bit. Probably knocks down Tesla for me, I would imagine. I was getting a ton earlier, but I don't know. I still think he's probably a good value. My buddy just sent me something, shows ARSB cutting and moving well in the field, so you might be fine. What are your thoughts there? What are you planning on doing?
Stand I'm taking is I'm just not going to play him today. I am not super high on the Teslas and the Buddy Kennedys as I was previously. Kennedy was a guy that I wanted to absolutely load up on 2K, but now I'm not really getting to him at all. And so I'm kind of I'm loading up so heavy on the Dallas offense in this game that I feel like I really didn't have to change around that much, other than just get a little bit less Tesla on Kennedy, because I just really want to load up on that Dallas side of the game. I actually think Dallas wins this one. And I want to load up on their offense. I'm going with, and we do have a question, like you're playing Season Brown in your season long lineup, right? Yes, absolutely. If he is playing, you're putting him in your lineup, and he's playing. So definitely getting to St. Brown in the season long setting. I'm fading him in DFS though. And I actually think the Cowboys offense is going to be where we want to be loading up our lineups with. How do you think this game is going to go from a real life standpoint? Lions kind of sputtering, and Cowboys have been looking up recently.
Yeah, I get you. I was pretty much on the Dallas side too earlier. Just leaning more Dallas, CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Javonte Williams. I figure the field would be more on JMO and Gibbs with ARSB out. Now he's in, that muddles things up. I will say the ownership on ARSB for a number one wide receiver is pretty discounted. So, it's something we kind of have to talk through more. Once again, still waiting to kind of sort everything out. So I don't currently have a take, but by the end of the show, I will.
Yeah, I'm interested. We've had a couple ownership updates already in the last few minutes, or in the last 10 minutes since he got ruled in. There's already been multiple. I'm looking forward to seeing how we think this is going to go as we get closer to lock here. Currently projecting him for only 18% ownership in the flex position, sub 1% in the flex or in the captain. I could see that getting boosted up in the captain a little bit, just because I think people will go, well, if nobody's playing him, I'm going to play him. And so he probably ends up 3, 4, maybe 5% there if I were to guess. But I don't think it's going to go up much in the flex position, just because you don't really have any type of discount with him. And if people are in that price range, I feel like they'd rather go Lamb, they'd rather go Pickens, they'd probably rather go Dak or Goff in this spot. And so I do think he is looking like he's going to be pretty under-owned here. I just don't really want to change anything. That's why I'm personally not going to be adding a bunch of him in. I'm just leaving it as it is. And then if he goes off, it just isn't going to be my day. But it's not hard at all to get overweight on Amon-Ra St. Brown today.
Which to me is basically telling me that I need to get more. But I don't know. I'm currently on your side. I just want to see a final projection run. And then I feel like everything's pretty much final, but still waiting on to run everything, I guess, on my own.
I might just like end up looking at a couple of things as we're edging towards the end of the show and being like, all right, this one lineup that I didn't hand build my 20 today like I usually did. I built my single entry lineup, and then I let the Sims handle my 20 entry max, and I've just adjusted a couple things. But I am looking at a couple lineups and being like, okay, this has Hunter Lupke on the team. Do I really want to get to Hunter Lupke? No, probably I don't. Maybe this is the team that I put Amon-Ra St. Brown into. That's kind of how I'm looking at these things, just because I don't love getting to him today, and I don't want to have to adjust my entire build, but I might go through a couple lineups and be like, hey, I don't like the way this one looks. Let me get him in here or there. Let's start talking about the captain and MVP position on DraftKings and FanDuel. Right now, we have Jahmyr Gibbs looking like the guy with the highest optimal rates at the captain position today. Who are you looking at as your primary guy, say in a single entry, and then some other options if you're playing multiple lineups?
I just want to see like what we have for ownership currently. Has our ownership updated? Has the blitz updated?
Let me look. Do a refresh. Oh, it looks like the blitz just did as of a minute or two ago for projections, and as of ownership a minute ago or two as well. And then ours, and then RotoGrinders is as of 4 minutes ago for both. So yeah, both are fresh.
Yeah. So for me, it's really dependent on where I think ARSB is coming in. If he's going to be super low, like I'm going to take a stand and probably try to get to him. From there, I like Dak, I like CD, I like Javonte Williams. I'm more on the Dallas side than most, I would imagine. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm kind of taking an underweight approach on. I think those are like the 5 main guys that you can kind of consider.
It is interesting to look at right now with the blitz projections, because the RotoGrinders ones very clearly are having like, okay, we are not getting full go Amon-Ra St. Brown, projecting for about 15 fantasy points right now. Whereas on the blitz side of things, they are saying full go Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is a great spot, and he's projected for over 10 more points in the blitz. Not ownership points, actual raw points in the blitz than he is in the RotoGrinders projections. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get an accurate ownership projection on him before the game, if projections throughout the industry are going to have like the range of outcomes is going to be so wide with like 10-point differences between them.
Yeah. Say that again. Sorry.
Like, so Amon-Ra St. Brown's projection right now is, I think, like ranging between 10 points different on various projection sources right now. So I think it's going to be real tough to know how high owned he's going to be, because for some,
I would just at this point, like if no one has projection. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If no one can project him correctly, I'm probably jamming him.
Well, it's like, where would you project him, do you think? Because right now I'm seeing the difference between 15 and 26 fantasy points.
I
feel like probably somewhere in the middle is right, but it ultimately kind of depends if you think he's going to be full go or not, and we really can't know that until the game starts.
Where do we have him at currently?
We are currently projecting for 15.4 fantasy points, and then the blitz just updated and has him for 26.96 fantasy points.
Is that the cat? Are you looking at the captain versus the flex though?
No, that doesn't change, and that doesn't change their raw point projection in lineup HQ, but still no. And so that's what I mean is like, I don't think we're going to be able to know a reasonable ownership projection if all around the industry he's going to have like these totally different projections. And so I do think it's going to be straight true guessing game of he could be anywhere between 10% owned and 30% owned and 40% owned in flex. He could be sub 1% in the captain. He might end up being like 15.
Yeah, I'm going to give him 16 in the flex. So that's around like 24 in the captain. That's where I'm just going to play it, I guess. I think that's the best way to go about it currently for me. We have him at 15.4, right, at RG. So, yeah.
What about some of these other options at captain and MVP position today? Say you were playing a single entry. Who do you think would be closer to the optimal route at the captain position today?
Like with like not knowing on ARSB.
But no, like regardless of ownership, I'm talking who do you think is the best $0 option?
I think you want to be getting to, I think like if you're playing cash games, it's probably Gibbs. That you want as your captain.
I think I probably would agree. Gibbs is like projecting as our highest optimal rate guy right now. It will be interesting to see where JMO's ownership at the captain position comes in, because although we've had an update on ownership, I don't think it has decreased as much as we would expect it. Earlier on, he was projecting for 25% ownership in that captain position. I can't imagine he's going to be there that high now with Amon-Ra St. Brown playing. But with Pickens and JMO projecting as the highest owned guys at the captain right now, I really like Jahmyr Gibbs just straight up in a single entry and saying one is the best option, but if he's not going to be the highest owned, I think that is probably the guy. But my favorite overall, I think, is going to be Prescott. We're currently projecting him sub 10% in that captain position, both on FanDuel and DraftKings. I think he's the guy that I want to go to and just try and jam in both Lamb and Pickens into my lineup. What do you think about the Prescott build today at captain?
Yeah, I like the call on Prescott. Like I said, I'm pretty bullish on Dallas, leaning towards Dak and Lamb. Pickens also in the mix. I prefer Lamb over Pickens personally, but I would imagine the field does as well. So, yeah,
Fields going to Pickens quite a bit more than Lamb today, according to projections.
Then I prefer Lamb more. But I do like just correlating Dak being the captain and you basically playing two wide receivers with him.
He is more expensive than I'd like him to be, and I think that's probably, but at least I think that's probably why his ownership is keeping pretty low. And so I'll hopefully use that to my advantage and hope he doesn't come in too high here. But would you try going to any of these cheaper options? Like before we got this Amon-Ra St. Brown news, I was thinking I would throw in some Isaac Tesla captain lineups. I still think if you're playing like shooting for first place, trying to play a lot of lineups, it's viable to try it. But for the most part, I'm sticking with Dak, Gibbs, Lamb, and Pickens as my main guys up top. Are you going to play any lineups with a cheaper option?
I think I have some Tesla, some Brandon Aubrey, but very little. Brandon Aubrey's at 8,100. It's not like he's that cheap. Tesla would probably be my favorite if I'm playing the cheap guys, but I'm not like actively. I doubt I'll if he's like 2%, I'll probably have like 1% and 150. I'd imagine. Like I'm not going to have anything. So, yeah.
I am Steve-O's Jay saying St. Brown being in wants to make him jam in more Jameson Williams today. I think a lot of people in chat thinking he is going to be in that decoy role tonight. Coco McGill saying the same thing. Small sample size, but if that's any indication, then it does look like the field is going to be going that way today. And so worth considering. Tim Booker asking about Tom Kennedy. I think I called him Buddy Kennedy earlier. Who's Buddy Kennedy? That's a professional athlete of some kind. Is that baseball? Yeah, he is a infielder for he's a free agent. There you go. But I meant Tom Kennedy when I said him, and I really think that he's kind of out of play now that St. Brown is in, because as long as he doesn't re-injure himself, as long as even if he's not full go in terms of targets and they are playing him more as a decoy route, he's not getting as many primary looks, he's still going to be on the field. And so I'm not going to be getting to any Tom Kennedy today because that was kind of like a direct fill-in for St. Brown last game. And so I'm personally not getting there. How about you? Do you have any Tom Kennedy at the flex today?
No Tom Kennedy currently at the flex. And yeah, I think with St. Brown being in, it kind of would hurt these ancillary guys a little bit. Yeah, he's 2K. I don't think currently I'd have he's going to be in my player pool, but not like someone I'm going to be overweight on.
I like Turpin exponentially more for only $400 more. So that's kind of where I'm getting to significantly more than him today. And if I actually can get that price up, I don't mind going to Ryan Flanoy as well. If I'm not mistaken, we have Jalen Tolbert not even active. And so I think Ryan Flanoy is very interesting considering how much Dallas throws the ball. What are your thoughts on him as a lower owned flex option today?
Yeah, I like spending up a little bit for Flournoy over Tom Kennedy personally. Like 2K, he's going to be chalky. Kennedy, I would imagine, or it looks like his ownership's going to be a lot higher than Flournoy's. So I'd be more interested in Flournoy.
What about these kickers today? Because this is kind of always a spot where Aubrey is always one of everybody's favorite kickers, and then John Bates don't really ever want to get there because of how often the 49ers go for it on fourth down. It kind of eliminates a lot of his opportunities. But I think the ownership is probably going to have that factored in with Bates coming in significantly lower owned than Aubrey. We're not projecting a huge difference right now. It's only a 300 or 3% difference on DraftKings. They're priced 400 apart on DraftKings, 200 apart on FanDuel. So it is very easy to get to Aubrey over Bates. How are you splitting up these two kickers today?
I'd much rather get to Aubrey with that leg and the fact that the Lions go for it on fourth down so much. Just don't really love Bates. Kind of hurts his ceiling. So it would definitely be Aubrey, and Aubrey has an immense ceiling.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. Like if I'm playing both kickers or I really like a lineup, don't want to change it, and I can't get up to Aubrey, that's kind of the only way that I'm playing Bates today. How about the defenses? And I know we're kind of going in reverse order, haven't talked about any running backs yet outside of a little bit of touching on Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll get there. These defenses I think are kind of very viable salary saving options today, even though I think this is going to be a high scoring game. They're just both so cheap at 4K and 3.6 on DraftKings. I never really get there on FanDuel where the pricing is a little different, but Lions and Cowboys, I think if I'm picking one, I actually prefer the Cowboys, but who are you getting to among these defenses?
I prefer the Cowboys as well. If you do think the Cowboys are going to win the game, I think it makes sense that you'd be more interested in the Cowboys in the scenario. So yeah, the Cowboys defense has been playing a lot better the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I would like to get to more of the Cowboys. I like Javonte Williams. I think that's a good correlation there as well.
That's a good pivot into these running backs. How much Javonte you get into, how much Gibbs you get into. Those are obviously the top options, but we just came off a game where Malik Davis ripped off a really long touchdown. We already got a question about him. And then David Montgomery, if you think Detroit's going to be ahead in this one, that's when he gets a lot of his touches or in those positive game scripts. He is kind of pricey though. How much who are you prioritizing among the running backs? How much are you getting to of each?
I think Javonte is probably my favorite, and that's probably a contrarian take. Gibbs obviously has the explosion, and he's a great play. But I think a lot of people will be going to Gibbs. I'd probably play it as if Dallas is winning, which knocks down my David Montgomery. But I think I'm going to be underweight to Gibbs as well because that's just how I'm kind of playing the slate. I would imagine.
I hand built an Amon-Ra St. Brown captain lineup, and I really like how it looks. And so looking forward to I am gonna play. I was fading it a little bit before, but I am gonna play it. And I'm looking at guys like Turpin and Dwelly as a salary saver. I'm looking at and I'm basically just gonna make the same lineup twice, once with Pickens and once with Lamb, and go from there. But speaking of Dwelly, what about these tight ends? Because Ferguson, I don't really like going to with both Pickens and Lamb in there. You basically need him to get into the end zone because his target depth rate is so damn low.
He does get in the end. though, for what it's worth.
What'd you say?
He does get into the end zone.
He does get into the end zone, but you absolutely need him to. And even if he scores, that doesn't always mean a slate-breaking performance at that price tag. And so I'm going to be underweight on Ferguson, playing 20 lineups, and I have him in, let's see, 0. I have 0 Jake Ferguson. How about you? How much of him are you getting to?
I'm interested in Ferguson. I think I'd likely be overweight. Still building my teams on the show currently, so not 100% sure, but yeah. It's where I think getting to Ferguson makes sense if you like Dak and you expect Dak to see a ceiling. So I would imagine that's how my stuff is looking when I finish this off here. Sorry about this. I don't know why they just got a late start.
No, it's all good. You get St. Brown coming in last
St.
minute.
Brown is like
build
really threw me off.
I'm personally not going to get to Prescott, or sorry, not going to get to Ferguson, but I am getting to these cheaper tight ends a lot more. And so I see some people talking about Brevin Spann-Ford in chat. I am getting to him in, I think, one of my 20 lineups, maybe end up 2. I have a little bit of Luke Schoonmaker in there just because he's really cheap and coming in for low ownership. And so don't mind either of those guys as just like punts. And then I'm getting to the Detroit guys as punts as well. Ferkser and Dwelly. Dwelly kind of seems like he's going over-owned to me for, like, I just get it that there's not many other cheapies in that range. He should be on the field, but I kind of think Ferkser is a nice pivot off of him today. I am still getting to some Dwelly, but I don't mind Ferkser as a pivot. Of the 4, which surprisingly there are 4 viable cheap punt tight ends, which of those guys do you like the best?
I would say Ferkser. Let me see here currently. Wait 1 sec. Sorry about that. It is Ferkser for me. Yeah, Ferkser.
I think all ownership considered, it's between Ferkser and Spann-Ford for me, just because Spann-Ford is so darn cheap. And then Ferkser is a great pivot, I think, off of Dwelly. Those 2 are probably my favorites of that group. Spann-Ford, Schoonmaker, probably the one that gets left off the most for me. But I do have him in 1 of my 20 lineups, whereas Ferkser and Spann-Ford I'll get to in 2. So quite a bit, twice as much there, I guess, if you think of it that way. Any other guys that we haven't mentioned that you would want to bring up as kind of like a shot in the dark play today?
Shoot, let me think through this.
While you're thinking, I will say,
not really. Like I would imagine, not really. Like it would probably be Ferkser for me, and being underweight Jahmyr Gibbs. That's currently what I'm looking at. So
if you got some questions, get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Get them into the YouTube chat. If you are watching us on YouTube, all we ask is that you smash that like button for us. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, of course, but hit the like button. Help us battle that YouTube algorithm. Help us keep the lights on here. And, of course, we will give you our Feel It in the Plums play as well. So, Bobby, I'll throw it to you first. Who is your Feel It in the Plums play of the day? And I need a reason. I need a breakdown, not just the player name.
CeeDee Lamb is going to be my guy. CeeDee Lamb. Going to – I like the Dallas side, and if people are going to be leaning more to Pickens, I'm just going to basically the most reliable player in the Dallas offense over the last 5 years. So CeeDee is my guy.
I like it. I am very heavy on CeeDee Lamb as well today. I'd message Chop because I want to know, Chop, it's a Cowboys game. You've been lights out for a Cowboys game. Who is your Feel It in the Plums play? And he said he didn't quite want to go with Lamb because he loves the entirety of the Cowboys passing game so much. But if he is choosing one, he's going Lamb over Pickens today. And his Feel It in the Plums play, which I guess maybe would adjust with the Amon-Ra St. Brown news, but was Isaac Tesla today. I'm going Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott at the captain and MVP position. That is my guy. I want to pair him with both Lamb and Prescott. I'm with both Bobby and Chop that if I'm picking one, I think Lamb is the guy that I would prefer. But both of them going to be priorities for me today, and I want to pair them with my guy, Dak. FanDuel single entry. Who is your favorite MVP tonight?
I think it's Gibbs. Like I would on FanDuel, I just prioritize the running backs. I'd probably be more interested in Gibbs than anyone else. Javonte Williams is another one that I'd consider.
Would you put St. Brown in your season-long lineup? Yes, absolutely. A lot of talk about St. Brown being a potential decoy. Question about Tom Kennedy. We hit that one earlier. Both of us are going to be off Tom Kennedy today with St. Brown being back. Butho Jenkins wants to know if anyone thinks Devon Valley looks a lot like Bad Bunny. I don't know. I don't actually know if I've seen what Devon Valley actually looks like, Butho, and so I'm sorry I can't help you on that.
Bad Bunny looks like.
I know what Bad Bunny looks like, but I don't know what Devon Valley looks like. Balance Unlimited wants to know, what are your thoughts on Malik Davis?
He's making my large field player pool. He's not someone like I'm going to be entirely overweight on. I would prefer other options personally. At the running back position for Dallas, Javonte Williams, I think, is the one that just makes the most sense, right?
I realized I said 49ers defense instead of Cowboys or Lions before. Pardon me. I don't know where my head's at, but you guys knew what I meant. Appreciate you, Derek Ringer and Chad, for setting them on the right path that I was all over the place. DKGPP, do you want Bates, Tesla, or Dwelly?
I'd probably go Dwelly. Actually, yeah, I'd probably go Dwelly.
I think a slight edge for Tesla for me, but it'd be one of Tesla or Dwelly. I don't think I'd be going with Bates. I am Steve OJ, bringing up that Malik Cunningham is active for the Lions. Not somebody that I think is going to be getting a lot of work by any means, but it's a $200 player who is active. So just something to keep in mind. Frederick Ellis says his feel it in the Plums play is rolling out the Cowboys defense today. Not super high on the defenses, but if I am playing one of them, it is going to be the Cowboys for me as well. Don't forget to smash that like button for us. And it's also a good time to remind you, especially because it's a Thursday, it's the perfect time to get a 3-day pass. It's only $9.99. That's 50% off for a limited time for our NFL 3-day pass. You can build lineups through the weekend, get access to SimLabs, get access to Lineup HQ, the whole shebang. You get all the tools for only $9.99. Get it on a Thursday. That means you get access for the Thursday night football stuff, and then you got Friday, Saturday, and all of our shows on Sunday to carry you up to that slate. So definitely check that out. Get yourself a 3-day pass. Bobby, do you got anything else? We're low on questions. We've hit them all already, so I'll give people a couple seconds here to get some more in. But Bobby, do you have anything else for the people before we get out of here?
I am going to go overweight on Amon-Ra St. Brown in captain. I think that's my final decision. Lamb's still my favorite, but I do think that if the field thinks Amon-Ra is going to be that low owned, like it's a good idea to just get overweight on him in both captain and flex.
I think that makes a lot of sense as well. That'll do it for today's show. Good luck today, everyone, in all of your contests. Give you some time to grab a drink, grab some snacks, get a comfy seat for tonight's football game. Thank you so much for tuning in on behalf of myself and Bobby. We will see you next time. Peace.